right, good afternoon, Atlanta Music Project, young musicians and friends. I'm Averill, and I'm happy to welcome you to another edition of AMP Online Masterclasses, sponsored by the Chestnut Family Foundation. Class is Skills and Technique for Intermediate Violin, taught by Dr. Grant Gilman. I invite you to participate by playing or playing along at home by answering questions in the chat. If you'd like, you can have your video shown to demonstrate a concept as we go through the class. So let's get started.
All right. So my name is Dr. Grant Gilman. It's good to meet all of you. So this is kind of like having a radio show where you talk to lots of people and nobody actually answers until a little bit later. So anyway, what I wanted to start off with was talking about just about scales. Now, of course, scales is like talking about a car manual. Nobody actually wants to read it, and yet if we didn't have a car manual, then we wouldn't drive anywhere. So the thing is, scales are absolutely one of the most important things that we can possibly work on, and it's not for one particular thing. It's for so many different particular things. So what I wanted to do was show you what I do, what I mean by what I do is what I do every day. If I don't practice anything else in a day, I do some version of this. So I use what we call this Galamian method. So if you're not familiar with who Ivan Galamian is, Galamian was a pretty famous violinist and a very, very long time teacher, mostly at Indiana University. So he wrote this scale and technique method that a lot of people still use, and so he came up with this way of doing at least the 3-octave scales. He does it for everything else, but for the 3-octave scales, to play them in increasingly sped up proportions. So we're going to start off with 2 notes to a bow, but he does it 2, and then 4, and then 6, and then 8, and then 12, and then 24. So 2 bows up and down. But we're not going to do so many of those today. But what I wanted to say is that within these, and we're going to take it pretty slow, within these we want to pick something to focus on. Whenever you do scales, you want to focus on something. Not too many things, because you can't focus on too many things at once and really get a lot out of it. So you want to pick things that you want to focus on. Usually intonation is a big thing. This is the perfect place to put focus on intonation. Another thing is the bow. Another possible thing is shifting. How your mechanics of shifting from one position to another. So there are many, many ways of going about it. But so we want to just, right now, we want to just focus on the most basic things. We're not even going to worry so much about intonation at the moment, because I'm not sure what everyone's levels are. I'm not sure if all of you have played 3-octave scales before, but so what you see on the screen in front of you is one of his fingerings for a G major scale. This is probably the most basic and easiest 3-octave scale that there is. So we're going to use the fingerings that I've presented here. So we're going to go up to 3rd position right here on the 1st octave G, and then up to 5th position on this C here, and then at the top we do a 4/4 at the top, and then we come back down. Oops, sorry, not there. But down to 3rd position here with the 2nd finger on the B, and then stay there all the way until here, and come back down on the F sharp. All right, so let's try this just first without any metronome or anything. Just one bow per note. We're going to go very slowly, and we're going to use the whole bow. And by whole bow, I mean the whole bow. Not, okay, yeah, the whole bow. No, no, no. Whole bow. Frog to tip, tip to frog, every single time. So here we go. Try to play along with me as best as you can. All right, here we go. So, if you notice, obviously, at the beginning and at the end, he starts with a little turn, right? So he does that because how many notes are in a scale? Now be careful how you answer that. How many notes are in a scale? There are 7. That is not a very nice number to divide up, right? Because then the eighth note of the scale is the first of the next scale, right? So, but if you add those 3 notes at the beginning and at the end, it makes a much better number. That's why he adds that. Okay, so now we're going to start off very slowly, and hopefully you'll be able to hear this. Nope, that's not helping. Okay, there we go. All right. So this is 50 to the quarter note, 50 beats per minute. So we're going to do this as if this was the quarter note, and we're going to play 8 notes. We're going to play 2 notes to a bow. I'm going to go straight up and straight back down. All right. Ready and. Too fast for you. Okay, so that's the first part. Actually, Galamian doesn't even suggest that we even go that slow. He says to go faster. He says to go at 4. So let's show what it looks like at 4 then. All right, so this is what the bowing looks like at 4. So we're going to go the same. This is still to the quarter note, and we're still playing 8 notes. The only difference is we're playing with 4 notes in each bow. Ready? So 3 and 4 and. Important to remember with all of this, you are going to make mistakes over and over and over and over again. Maybe right now you're just making constant mistakes. That is a good thing, because then if you notice you're making a mistake, then you know what to fix. So make the mistakes and be okay with them. Mistakes are not good or bad. They are useful. All right? So now...
Yes. And Dr. Gilman, I just wanted to interject that if anyone has any questions out there, please feel free to indicate in the chat if you've got any questions, or if you want to demonstrate, please indicate that as well. We'd love to hear from you all. Okay.
Absolutely. I'm gonna. All right. So here's 6. Not going to be quite as fast as you might think, but it will be a little bit fast. All right? And then after this, we'll see if anybody else can step up to the challenge. So this is still a quarter note, and we're going to be playing triplets. You got da, 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 da. Ready? 3 and 4 and... That easy. All right. No, it's not easy at all. All right. So is there anyone that would like to try and demonstrate any of those speeds and try whole bow, anything at all? Is anybody up for that challenge? And show all of your mistakes.
Hey, Vincent, would you like to give it a shot? Let's see if we can allow.
The silence is
deafening. Hey, Vincent, would you like to give it a shot? I probably shouldn't have asked. I probably should have just went around the room. And so, how about I'll ask a couple people, and then we might just designate a few people if no one volunteers.
That sounds good.
Miles, would you like to give it a shot? And I've got you and Vincent on. You guys are able to speak if you'd like.
Okay. I like the.
All right, let's move on for now.
All right, good. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. This is just a warm up anyway. Well, actually, Vincent said sure, but I don't see Vincent. I just see his like swirling.
Oh, okay.
Background.
I'll bring Vincent up. Thanks, Vincent. I'll bring him up now. As we pull Vincent up, let's see. All right, Vincent, can you hear us? We've got him up. I wonder if
oh, there he is.
Good. All right. Maybe if we go off of the share screen, everyone can see what he's doing. Dr. Gilman, do you see Vincent?
Yeah, I can see him. Yeah.
Okay. We can't see him. Try taking off the share screen for a moment. There we go.
Ah, now I can see him the right way. All right. I assume you still need the scale, right? Or no?
Oh, he would. So I guess we would have to go back to it. I guess we would be able to hear him. So
yeah, yeah. But I can still see him. Yeah. Let's see.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's what's important. Okay.
All right. Give it a shot. Which one do you want to do? The 2, 4, 6, or singles? He seems frozen. All right, Vincent, which one do you want to do? I don't know if you can hear me. Oh, there he went.
Okay, well let's go. Let's see if Miles.
Yeah, I saw Miles pop up there for a second.
Well, you know what? Maybe we should move on for the moment, and we'll see if we can get them correct later.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Oh, Vincent came back. Vincent, are you there? Can you hear us? It's frozen in time.
I wonder why we can't hear Vincent while this share screen is up. But he's got to have those.
Just kind of seem very slow.
Well, you know what? Maybe we can, since we're having difficulty sharing or listening to the examples, let's just go ahead on.
Okay, no problem. I'm gonna have to restart my share. All right, so anyway, that's something that I do every day, something like that anyway. And living in a house with a horn player, she has a similar thing that she does every single day. All right, now, going on the same idea, another thing I like to do is do exercises, etudes that make me uncomfortable. They make me go to particular areas, especially of the bow, because the thing is, we very often concentrate on our left hand because that's where all the action is. That's where the melody is. That's where a lot of the visual stimulation is, right? And then if it's in tune or not, that's where we draw a lot of our attention. But the thing is, there's so much more that happens with the bow that affects the sound than we often realize. So it's very important to start to focus on that in the beginning. And even with simple exercises or seemingly simple exercises, we can start to develop a greater flexibility. And we all have tendencies as string players to go to certain areas of the bow. So the middle, we're usually pretty happy in. We're usually pretty happy in the middle. We're also pretty happy in the upper half. It's pretty easy to be in the upper half. It doesn't take a lot of effort. Pretty good up there. Now, where we're really uncomfortable is down here. Down here near the frog, we are very uncomfortable. Now, why is that? I mean, part of the reason, most of the reason, it's just gravity. We've got the heaviest part of the bow with the frog, with the heaviest part of the stick, and we've got our hand there. Our hand is pretty heavy comparatively. So we've got all of this weight here, and what do we have to do in order for it not to sound like that? We have to use more effort. But how much effort to lift it up enough so that it doesn't make that sound? Because if we use too much, then we get something like that, where we're not having enough pressure. And of course, if we don't use enough effort to lift it up, then we get some kind of a scratch, right? So we have to be somewhere in the middle. And we have to continuously adapt that feeling. And it's almost such tiny, tiny motions and feelings in the muscles that we can't enumerate, we can't process every single little thing about it. So instead, we just play more things that challenge us to kind of ingrain it in our subconscious as much as possible. So this exercise, this excerpt, this etude, this is from the Kreutzer 42 etudes, which you're probably familiar with. So this is number 3. This one doesn't get played as much as number 2. Number 2 is the one that usually everybody starts with. So this, we're going to start off with playing this just without any slurs at all. All right, just to get used to these notes. This has a little bit of shifting in it, not too much, and we're not going to go too fast, but it's just got just enough in there that it still challenges your left hand, but also it gives you enough, it doesn't challenge you too much that you're able to concentrate on the bowing. All right, so that's kind of the point of most etudes. It's going to challenge you for the most part in one particular area, but still challenge you in everything a little bit. So that's the idea. So if you would like, play along just to get the notes under your fingers this first time. We'll go relatively slowly. I don't know what the tempo is going to be, but it'll be slow enough. All right, we're just going to go from the beginning. It's in C major. And in the middle there, it's going to start to shift up. So even if you get lost with the shifting, just try to stick around and try to catch on again. It's no big deal. All right? We're going to go through this a few times so you can get another shot. There we go. So D, da, 3, E, and 4, E, and too complicated. I just wanted to point out what happens here in the middle, just a little bit. So here, this goes up to second position, right? And then stays there, and then goes up to third position, and then goes up to fourth position, and then fifth, and then sixth, and then comes back down. Fifth, fourth, third, second, and then finally first, and then stays there. So that's what it's doing. Do you think that Kreutzer likes a pattern? I think he does. I think he likes a pattern.
Hey, Dr. Gilman, let's, if you think it's appropriate, let's try to get someone in real quick, and let's see if it'll cooperate with us.
Okay.
With it. And if not, we'll move on. But let's see if we can get a student to. Do you think they should demonstrate a little bit of this piece?
Sure.
Okay. All right, Vincent. Do you want to try to give a little bit of this one a shot? All right, he says he's willing. Are you? Do you hear him on your end, Doc?
Yeah, I can see. I can see in the chat. All I see is his very awesome background.
And it's strange. We've got him up,
oh,
and we've got
here
him.
He comes.
Okay.
There he is. All right. Can't hear anything.
All right. Well, we may have to. Well, let's move on since we don't want to spend too much time. I guess we encountered the same issue earlier. So.
Oh yeah.
All right. It's okay. We were trying to see if we were able to incorporate. I guess that's our answer for the moment, and maybe we'll have another opportunity to attempt later on.
There's obviously a way. There's obviously a way. We have to figure it out.
Yeah, we've been doing it in all of the master classes. I'm not sure what the problem is right now. So.
All right. No problem. We'll just keep playing along. There'll be a test next week. No, I'm just kidding. Absolutely not. I don't give tests ever. Okay, so. All right. So now, that's just the notes themselves. Okay, so it's got some shifting stuff and some interval stuff. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to introduce one bowing. Now, this bowing, it's very simple. It's very simple. It's the first two slurred and the next two separate, right? So what's going to force us to do is to either be at the extreme tip or at the extreme frog, right? So we have to go through it. And it's obviously it's not going to force you. You could do it all right here. So you have to be self-regulating a little bit. But what you can do with this is that it gives you the opportunity to continuously practice being way up here, way down here, and then also way up here, and try to control it. And guess what? It's not going to be great every single time. So let it not be great. And then you've got a whole 4/16 notes to try it again. All right? So let it be not good, and then try something different the next time, or try to feel it different. All right? So let's play through.
And even though the video is not working, you guys just make sure that you're playing along at home, even though we can't see. Make sure you're working, obviously practicing on it at home.
Yeah, please do, because it'll be very helpful, right? So much of what we do, especially, I mean, right now we're all isolated in our little islands at home. We can't play with each other directly, obviously, but this is a lot of what we do. Most of the work we do is on our own. And that's the way it's always going to be, whether we are fighting a virus like this or not. It's going to be all on our own. So being self-aware of what you're doing correctly or not correctly is vital. Whether it's music or something else, it doesn't matter. So it's very important that you can do this and say, oh, that wasn't correct. Okay, it's not good, it's not bad. Just notice it. You're not necessarily going to know how to fix it either. Not all of us do all the time. So that's fine. Just notice. Just notice. Just keep listening, keep playing, keep noticing. That's it. All right, so let's try to play relatively the same speed and try to force yourself to get as close to the frog as you can. You'll hear, I'm going to get close to the frog, and not all of mine are going to be perfect either. But I'm going to try something different every single time. And when I get to the tip, it'll be a little bit easier because we're all more comfortable at the tip. But really try to force yourself to get as close as you can to each of those extremes. All right, so here we go. 3 E and 4 E and So see how that kind of forces you to be in one end or the other, right? It's kind of uncomfortable, yeah? That's a good thing. It's good to be uncomfortable, all right? So then, of course, we have the possibility of doing it the other way. Not too much different, but the difference being that now you're going to have the same notes. It's all the same notes, obviously, but now you start off at the frog. Right? So it's kind of like playing the whole thing backwards, which actually is another way to make yourself awkward. All right? And also, let's try to play this a little bit faster this time. So now that you hopefully know the notes a little bit better, maybe you'll be able to play faster. If not, guess what? That's okay. That's all right. But just try to get as much as you can. And again, this is mostly for the exercise of the bow. So just these extremes. That's mostly what you're going for. These extremes. All right. So dee da dee da dee da dee da 3 E and 4 E and So that takes it all the way around the circle. Now you should feel a little worn out with your arm, all right? Now, there's one other thing that we can do, and this was pretty much impossible to write out. But what we're going to do is we're going to change the rhythm of this whole thing. We're going to change this rhythm so that the very first note of each 2/16 is a 32nd, and the second 16th is a dotted 16th. So it's going to be... Now, the goal with this... There's a lot of goal. There's always a lot of things. There's always multiple things. But with this, it's to use a whole lot of bow. It's not necessarily all the bow, depending on what tempo we go. But it's to use a lot of bow on that 32nd, the very first note of each one of them. And and to be as even as possible, right? Instead of something like... Right? We want to stay even. It's not going to be perfect, but we want to... All right? So let's try it. We're going to go even a little bit faster. See how we can get through it, and try to use still as much bow as you can and try to be as even as you can. And remember, this kind of stuff to focus on, this is way more particular. It's way more effort, takes way more effort than we normally need to use consistently throughout a piece, throughout a solo piece, throughout anything else. And it's meant for that. That's what these etudes are meant for. So keep that in mind. Even though this is maybe seems painstaking in that particular way, it's not usually going to be so intense for a particular thing, right? But so let's try it. Let's see how fast we can. 3 and 3 or 4 and. All right. So good. So
Hey,
if you've gone this
if
far,
students,
yeah.
I'm sorry, if students
Yeah.
wanted to access this, this is Kreutzer's Etude
Right.
study number 3. Is that correct?
Right. Let me.
So yeah, let's since we're towards the end of the webinar, can we guide students to being able to access this and practice this on their own? Like, where can they find this?
So this is, I don't know exactly. Whoa, I think the thing stopped sharing actually. Stopped updating. Let me put it in the chat.
Awesome.
So it's Kreutzer 42 studies, which of course you can buy, but it is absolutely, I mean, this is obviously like a PDF, so you can absolutely find it. If you Google it, if you Google PDF Kreutzer, and of course, Dante said that somebody's going to,
that'll be great. Yeah, we'll buy some copies and make sure that the kids get them. So that's outstanding. You can get to work on this on your own.
It's because I mean, there's tons. You know, the Kreutzer is pretty advanced overall, but they start off slower, as you can see. So they have a lot of range for starting off slower, and we'll probably use a few more of them in the next few weeks. But they start off manageable, and then they start to increase. There's 42 of them, so there's a long way to go. But it's very usable. Yeah.
Well, great. Well, is there anything that you would like to leave us with the last couple of seconds that we have in the webinar?
Not really now. I mean, my main thing is always make mistakes and be okay with it. Make mistakes because mistakes are just information. They're just information. They're not positive. They're not negative. Make them and then use them. You're going to make mistakes in life. We all do. So this is a much, much smaller microcosm of making mistakes and being able to fix them. Because if you make a mistake, then that's it. It's done. It's over. And then you can try to fix it. If a doctor is in surgery and they make a mistake, that may not be the end of it. It could be much worse. So this is a great place to make mistakes and to try to fix them. Yeah. So make them and make them okay. Be okay with it, because then other people can help you with them. This should be, you know, like when I would rehearse the orchestra at AMP, I would like refer to it as the, you know, the house of mistakes, the home of mistakes, the, you know, whatever. This is where you make them. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. So doing stuff like this and making yourself awkward, that's how you get better. outside of your comfort zone. Get there.
It's part of the process.
Yeah, right.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for tuning in.
All right. Thanks, guys.